Welcome to the Gleeful Meeple, a podcast all about board games where strategy meets laughter and Euro games don't always need all the things. In this episode, we're joined by a special guest to talk about video games, board games, and why not both? We make gowns and frock coats in this week's game of the show, Rococo. And you, the Gleeples, get to play along as the hosts get put in the hot seat with this week's game challenge. The grand ball is just a few weeks away, and all the attendees want to dress to impress. So hire your team, purchase your cloth and materials, and don't forget to sponsor those decorations because while you may not be going to the ball yourself, your reputation is still on the line. Hey, fellow dressmakers.
What's up, James?
Hey, James.
Hey, James. I'm Emily.
I'm Dwayne.
I'm James.
I'm Brittany.
And I'm JK, and my high school mascot was the Minuteman.
Really?
It was a Minuteman, yeah.
Why was he called the Minuteman, JK?
Because I went to Concord High School in Elkhart, Indiana, so it was the Concord Minutemen.
Okay.
Yeah. He was not small. It's not a minute man.
Nice.
James, I'm really impressed during your introduction how much you emphasized the word frock so that you didn't say something inappropriate. That was awesome.
Very good.
It was also just a weird pairing of words to follow up with each other. But yes, you're welcome, listeners. Would you all like to solve a riddle today?
I would
We would.
1000%
Yes.
love to
All
solve a
right.
riddle.
Let this one let it read all the way out before you.
Okay.
Because
Fair enough.
Okay.
I think you might know it ahead of time. A bit of this and a bit of that. They think you're crazy, and hey, might be a fact. Your genius needs space. Each step is a chance for things to go right and slowly advance. When it goes wrong, your crazy shows through. But hey, progress isn't always easy, and that weird mouse keeps looking at you.
So the progressing while getting crazy
Oh,
leads me into like a Cthulhu type thing.
yeah. But what's the weird mouse?
I don't know what the weird mouse is.
Mouse or mouth?
Mouse.
Mouse.
That weird mouth keeps looking.
Yeah, weird mouth keeps looking at. Mouth has eyes. No, it's mouse.
Mouse.
A bit of this.
I have a guess. I've not played this, so I don't know if I'm totally off base.
You're wrong.
Okay.
Because you have played this, apparently.
You have played
Okay.
this.
Wonderful.
Your genius needs space, JK.
A bit of this and a bit of that. They think you're crazy. And hey, might be a fact. Your genius needs space. Each step is a chance for things to go right and slowly advance. When it goes wrong...
I got it. Quacks of Quinlanburg.
It is Quacks of
Oh
Quedlinburg.
my goodness. I got a riddle right.
I just kept
feel
thinking
like I
about
was
Squid
due.
Games.
You were due. Now do you know where the mouse comes in?
No, because I haven't played that game.
It's the catch-up rats.
The rat tails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The rats are the catch-up mechanic in the
That's
game.
fun. Nice.
All right.
There you go. Good job, Dwayne.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, we've got a guest on the show, and I want to introduce her in a second, but I got to talk about something first.
Get it off your chest, JK.
Yes. So my wife and I had this really intense discussion the other day about something that's popped up on TikTok. Have you guys heard of the Hear Me Out cakes?
Yes.
No.
No.
Wait, is
You
this,
don't know what this is.
Should I pretend that I didn't hear you talk about this earlier?
maybe.
Or, okay, I have.
Yeah.
I have not heard.
I've
about
definitely
it.
not heard of this.
So there have been a couple videos, and the idea behind it is, for whatever reason, they present a cake in the very front of the camera. And then in turn order, whoever the people are on the show, they take a celebrity, a character, a whatever you want it to be, and their image is pasted onto a popsicle stick, and they jam it in the cake.
Or like a dowel rod.
Yeah.
Something.
And
yeah.
the idea is they are saying, hear me out. I think this person is smashable. So
Brittany looks so
yeah.
concerned.
There's other ways to say that, I feel like.
Well, there are, but not on this
There
podcast.
are. No. Okay, here's where it gets weird.
Just think smash burger.
No.
No. James,
Not
have
that
you
kind
heard
of
of Smash or Pass?
Not called that.
Yeah,
Okay, never mind.
Smash or pass. So, yay or nay. So here's where it gets weird, because there have been hear me out cakes that are celebrities. You know, put Leonardo DiCaprio, put Ryan Gosling, put Ryan Reynolds. But then she showed me a video where they started off with the red wiggle.
What is that?
Oh yeah. No, I
You
could.
guys don't know who
yeah.
the Wiggles are?
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
I could be
hold
into
on.
that.
They should have picked the purple wiggle first of all.
Emily has opinions.
All right.
Continue, JK.
I agree with
They
you.
went from the red wiggle to somebody on the doodle bops, which I vaguely remember from having my son watch that. when he
Also,
was a
no
child.
idea.
Yeah, kids TV.
You're saying words and no.
Here's where it went off the rails, because then they started going with a series of animated characters, such as Fillmore, the VW bus from Cars.
Okay, that's a
I
choice.
thought we were going the anime route.
No, not anime.
No,
that would be too easy.
Anime would
I've-
be vaguely normal. This was all like,
I've seen one where someone put Clippy, like the Microsoft
That's funny.
Clippy,
Okay.
because that's the whole point of Hear Me Out, because you're expecting people to like cause a ruckus when you say the word, the item,
Right.
the person or thing. But that's why it's Hear Me Out. Like, hear me out, guys. Red wiggle, and then everyone's like, boo.
Okay.
Yeah, guys, Herbie the Volkswagen bug.
I like that. Okay.
so we watched this video and my mind is wrecked. Like, I have this face of horror the whole time, and Tasha's my wife is like, why are you making this face? I was like, I didn't understand what the hell they were doing once they got past the red wiggle and the doodle bop. None of those things are people. And she was like, no, didn't you ever have a childhood crush on a cartoon character? And I said, no. and she was dumbfounded by this. She's like, come on. What was the female bunny from Space Jam?
Lola?
Lola Bunny.
Yeah.
She's like, Lola Bunny. You didn't think Lola Bunny was hot? And I'm like, I think she's a cartoon bunny.
It made me feel kind of funny.
Yeah. And I said, look, if you want to go down the route of our animated characters hot and you want to throw out Jessica Rabbit from Who's Afraid of Roger
All right.
Rabbit, I'm on board
Fair.
with this.
Fair.
But when you start getting into animals and anthropomorphic creatures or VW buses,
Because that's another like pairing
out.
I've seen is like the fox and the bunny from Zootopia.
Okay.
Yeah.
she quoted it. And she said, whatever the fox's name was, she's like, he's got a charm. I think he's got a swagger. That's great. And she's like, you don't think Judy Hopps is cute? And I'm like, she's a cartoon bunny.
Hey, JK, hear me out. Hamburger helper.
It's a hand.
Go on. That's correct. What are your thoughts? Tell me how you're feeling and where you're feeling it.
I feel
Are you funny in your tummy?
I feel like I need to take 5 minutes away from this show and reconsider all of my choices.
You did this, JK. This is your fault.
Yeah,
I'm trying so hard not to blow out all of our mics right now with my laugh, but I want to scream. This is hysterical.
So I spent the entire afternoon going, is there something wrong with me that I'm not attracted to cartoon
I was just about to
anthropomorphic
ask if you have an imagination, but you do. I know you do.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
not with animated creatures.
I don't get a fire in my loins
Ew,
for
gross.
animated creatures. No.
Listen, y'all, I think we should start every podcast like this, and we call the segment Old Man Yells About Memes.
Yes, I'm on board.
Old Man
go.
Yells Out Memes. There we go.
Is-
That's it.
When our banter's on 80s movies, I'm like, okay, you guys have fun. I'll meet you in the main discussion. But this, JK, I am so glad you brought this to the table.
Yeah.
Anyway, go check out
The people need to know.
Go check out Hear Me Out Cakes on whatever social platform you choose.
And before this delves into an area of conversation that we cannot dig ourselves
Yeah.
out of, welcome to the show, Brittany.
Hi, thank you.
Wow, it's weirder than usual, and the only thing that's different is you. So thanks.
You're welcome.
Whoa.
How long have you been with Gleeful Meeple, Brittany?
Almost a year. I think it'll be a year in
right.
November.
Okay.
Not very long.
How did you find us?
So, last year I went through a really bad breakup, and I was talking to my family who all live in a different state. And my brother kind of said it. He was like, well, you could either be sad and stay home or try to go make friends, because I didn't have a lot of like friends in the Nashville area.
Was your breakup with the Volkswagen bug?
It was not.
Oh, okay.
It was in fact a man.
A human man.
A human, real live man, not even a cartoon.
Okay. Brittany, would you like to take a moment to send him a request and dedication?
Hell no.
Fair enough. Oh, well, I can be as evil as you want to. So.
No, thank you. And I downloaded the Meetup app and I found Gleeful Meeple and I was like, okay, I like board games. I grew up with, playing games and stuff. So I'll give it a shot and here I am.
Okay. You like warmed up to me right away because like the first event you showed up to, you like had games in hand. You're like, give me some people. Let me teach you this. Let's go. And I'm like, she's one of us. This is awesome.
I did not do that.
You did not?
I did not. I showed up. It was you and Jules at the Ugly Duckling, and I was like, I don't know what to do.
Lucky Duck.
Oh,
Lucky Duck.
the
Yeah.
Lucky Duck.
Ugly duckling. I was like, where's the
Wait a
ugly
minute.
duckling?
Well, they turned into
Thank
the
you.
Swan,
Are
remember?
you talking about the upstairs venue
Nice,
that we went
Dwayne.
to?
Yes.
Yeah. My fault there because I have totally purged that entire event from my memory. That was a disaster. So,
Why, JK?
oh God, it was a mess. Well,
I mean, I didn't notice.
yeah.
I came back.
Good,
so-
good.
It
That
was-
means
it was
that
one of
means
our
things
most
were going
poorly
well.
executed events up until that point. So thank you for sticking with us. But maybe it was episode 2 or so that you showed up that you had games you wanted to teach. We set you up with some people. I think it was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was one of
That's-
the first games that I
Oh, I
got.
watched you teach that.
That you said that so
Was it that
ominously.
bad?
How was her teaching, James?
No,
Wait a
okay.
minute.
So, in an ominous way, you had a group of new people one night.
Yes.
When you're teaching for the first time, and I could see
Oh,
it was a
and that
group
could
of
be
new
stressful.
people being taught a game for the first time, and you were kind of learning it yourself at the same time, right?
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
only played it like once or twice.
Yeah.
That's why
So
I think
I was watching from afar.
one of my early experiences with Brittany was after a drink or two taking over one of the games that she brought. It was Ares
Oh, yeah,
Expedition.
Terraforming Mars.
Yeah. So we were playing Terraforming Mars. I had never played the Ares Expedition version, and Brittany was like, I just got this. It was new, or like you were still learning the rules or something.
Yeah,
and
I
I'm
hadn't
like,
played it yet.
okay, yeah. And I was like, I know Terraforming Mars. I'm seeing how this is connecting. And I just like went loud and in charge.
And then she crushed us.
No, Kyle won. He will get so upset. He won. I did
Okay.
not. I was doing great until the very end.
So spoiler, you're the youngest person sitting at this table,
Yes.
and you are.
I think that's a first for me.
really.
Oh, hello.
No,
Congratulations.
Yes, this is a first for me.
Okay.
I see.
Okay.
Moving up in the world.
Were board games already in your wheelhouse when you found us, or did you have a different path to gaming? Specifically, do you come through the video game pipeline more than the board games?
I'd say more so video games. Yeah. I mean, my family did like game nights. We would play like the Game of Life or like Clue, like the really basic board games like that. Never Monopoly because my brother and I were too competitive for Monopoly. My parents wouldn't let us. And I played like board games with my friends because they didn't want to play video games. But yeah, I think I spent more time playing video games than board games growing up.
What came first? Board games, video games, and I know you're into the role-playing stuff.
Yes.
So I want to throw D&D in there as well.
Probably board games first, just because of technology availability. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't get my first console. It was a Game Boy Advance, like the flip up one.
Yeah.
Yes.
DSP. Oh
Yes.
yeah.
I was like 7 or 8, so I was playing board games before then.
Mm-hmm.
And then the D&D stuff came later, like middle school, high school.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself a board gamer?
I do.
If people say, if you tell somebody you're a gamer, what do you mean?
I think when I'm specifically telling someone I'm a gamer, I think they tend to think video games, and I'm fine with that because it's true. But then I have had to explain to a couple people like, no, I'm part of this. When I say I'm part of a gaming group, I have to specify it's a board game group.
Yeah.
So I think that's just the automatic assumption is that it's video games.
I get that too. Like when I tell people that I'm part of a gaming group, they're like, "Oh, do you play on PC or Xbox or PlayStation?" I'm like, "Cardboard."
Physical
log.
media.
It's super low tech.
Yeah.
for a long time, and being a gamer has always been video games. I mean, it's probably going to take a long time yet for that to change in the general populist mindset of what a gamer is. That's all they've really ever been told. If they're not gamers, but they see it on the news, they see it everywhere. It's video games. So yeah, it's always a double statement. Oh yeah, I'm a gamer. Oh, you play video games? No, board games. You know it's going to be that one two step.
Yeah.
That dance.
What's your favorite video game?
That's hard.
Favorite few is okay too.
Okay. Yeah, because I grew up playing, I was bad at it, but I would play the Mass Effect video games.
Yeah.
Those were really fun.
Good
I really
series.
liked the story. Hilariously bad at shooting. So I probably didn't appreciate them until I was older and actually could play games where you shoot.
Well, that was a weird, not to get into minutia, but that game had some weird shooting mechanics anyways, I think.
Yeah, the first one did,
Yeah.
for sure. I mean, they were like 2007, 2008. So it was still like early kind of Xbox 360 shooters.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I had asked Brittany to send me her list of favorite video games ahead of this like conversation. And I was so excited because I feel like we have an overlap in our interests. What I could tell from your list is that I saw the commonalities of like sci-fi or fantasy themes, narrative driven games, like you just mentioned, like the story, and like role-playing mechanics. So I'm curious, like how like you came to like find those, or like how did you gravitate towards it? How did you find that you liked them, and what was your experience finding them?
Yeah, so I have a brother that's 2 years older than me. He actually bought the Mass Effect, at least the first 2 games. I don't think the third game was out yet. And I watched him play it, and I was like, oh, you actually make choices. This is more than just shooting. You make choices, and they matter. So then I started playing the game, and I was like, oh, okay, this is actually really fun because there's a story here that I can follow, and that is entertaining. So then it just kind of developed from there, and then I figured out that there were games where you didn't have like a shooting mechanic, like Until Dawn, kind of in the same vein, Dark Pictures Anthology, The Quarry, all of those kinds of games, where it's, if you have any kind of action, it's like a quick time sequence.
Yeah.
Which is usually like clicking a button or moving a joystick in a certain direction. So it's like, it's very narrative driven. Because I've played Until Dawn and The Quarry. Love them so
great.
much. I've like 100% at Until Dawn, and I've like tried to get through The Quarry, but now it's like, I only ever want to play this in October now.
Yeah.
Is Until Dawn the one where you're a courier in a zombie post-apocalyptic world? No.
No, it's a bunch of teenagers up on a mountain, and there's Wendigos.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
and there's Wendigos.
That's definitely not the game I'm thinking of.
But very narrative driven, and like I think those are great like gateway video games because it allows you to kind of like just get comfortable with a system, like a controller maybe. And it's like if you like the story more than you like the mechanics of games, I feel like that's a really kind of like just easy jumping point, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, narrative is a great place. I mean, if anyone, any kind of media for the most part, one thing that's true for most people is that they've always been part of storytelling. Someone's told them stories in their lives. They've enjoyed watching it in movies, TV. So like engaging in a good story is always a really easy bridge, I think, to use to help people get into something new. And I never thought of that aspect of video games, like the narrative ones that's the kind of the core of it, right? And the mechanics are just quick time events or something. Is that really is the perfect gateway for video games because it takes no mechanical skill to like beat a level or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to be fast like
that's what
Binding
like
of Isaac or something.
I feel like narrative driven can get kind of like looked down upon. Like I feel like it's like cozy games, like some gamers just like, no, that's not a real game, like blah blah blah. And it's like, it's just a cozy game, I'm having fun. And then like narrative driven can be similar to that because there's like no skill. But like, do you find that like the puzzle elements of like, you think about like Until Dawn, like that's a lot of like searching around, but do you feel like your brain like logicking out what's happening in the scenario or stuff like that?
Yeah, I think especially with like the choice-driven narrative games like Until Dawn, you kind of have to think ahead. And they have this mechanic where the choices have consequences, and the way that they tell you that is you get like these ravens on your screen when you make like an important choice. So it kind of like forces you to think ahead because you don't know what small choice you're going to make in the moment is going to take effect later on. And it can result in your characters dying. I mean, every character in that game can die.
So, okay, quick tangent on that. There's 8 characters. How many survived your first playthrough?
The only one I lost was Matt. So I only lost one character,
All right.
which was really surprising to me.
Yeah.
And it was for a dumb reason.
And that doesn't lose the game for you.
No, you don't.
Oh.
The game continues. The cool thing about these games is they continue even if characters die. The only way that they stop is once everybody is dead or you've reached the end of the game. So the games, you can have anywhere between, with all of these games, they're all made by Supermassive Games. you have between like 5 and 8 characters.
Yeah.
And as long as you have at least one alive at the end, you can get to the end of the game.
Because that's what, like, Until Dawn, you can basically get to the end of the game and just have just a variety of endings there because of some plot armor. And then in the Quarry, you may be missing a scene or two at the end that I think really closes up the story, depending on how it plays out. But yeah, not to get too into it, but yeah, like my first playthrough of Until Dawn, it was like only the women survived.
Okay, to be fair though, the guys for the most part are easier to kill.
Was that by design for you?
I was trying so hard to keep everyone alive.
Yeah, I think there's more. Is it 3 and 3, or there's like 3 guys and like 4 girls or something like that?
I think it's 4 and 4 on that game.
Okay,
if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, and I mean, Matt for me, the one guy that I got
the
killed.
Easiest
he's
one
the
to kill.
easiest one to get killed. Mike is easy to get killed. Like it's they just seem to have they're predispositioned for death.
Because that's it's in the horror like thriller genre as well, and so they do that suspense really well. And it's like you think you might be the most strategic person, you get a little bit of anxiety there, and suddenly you're making poor choices.
I remember when I played The Quarry, and I can't remember the character, but I had decided early on, like, this chick's got to go. And that was fun because I could make riskier decisions with her.
You're talking about.
I think I have a couple ideas.
So we talked about your video game experience. We love the story driven. We love kind of either like the darker horror thriller themes, maybe some sci-fi. When it comes to board games, do you find that you're looking for those similar themes? Like, spoiler alert, I also asked Brittany to send me a list of her favorite board games, and one of them was the Star Wars deck builder. That is one, that's a part of IP, but 2, that's like space, like that's sci-fi. Like, do you look for those same themes when you play board games, or?
I think if I'm purchasing board games, yes. Because like I own Star Wars Deck Builder, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which Dwayne mentioned earlier, and then Betrayal at the House on the Hill. So those are all kind of like, there's puzzles to solve, and there's kind of that mechanic of you can die but still complete the game. I think Star Wars Deck Builder is in the vein of I'm just nerdy and grew up a Star Wars nerd, so that just vibes with me.
It's definitely like the IP effect of that game for sure. Which, like, I have played Star Wars Deck Builder. It's really fun.
Yeah.
So if it's your investment of your dollars, you lean towards that way, like of games that you're going to own.
Yeah. But also, like, when I go to events, half the time I don't even play my own games. I'm just like, what are you playing? Will you teach me? Great, let's go.
Yeah, so you'll play anything, but definitely like the narrative ones, it sounds like.
Yeah.
I was about to say, do you see the story in the games? Sometimes, like, for example, Dwayne and I have played a few games of Battlestar Galactica.
A few.
There are times where it's like I'm just so focused. I think probably the first time I was so focused on just trying to get the rules right, trying to understand things, whatever. The most recent time we played, Dwayne entertained us to the Battlestar Galactica miniseries, and so I got to like understand all the lore or whatever. And so when we got into the game, like my brain started thinking about the story of our gameplay. I think Cthulhu Death May Die is really good at that as well. Do you see the stories in your board games, like, or is just a completely different part of your brain lighting up?
I think I do see the stories because it's with a game, I guess specifically like Betrayal, because I've played a couple different versions of that game. So I have a lot of experience with it. It's you're building the story as you go, kind of. Because with Betrayal, like you get like a trigger and that like turns one of the players into a traitor. But the trigger can be different across different games. So I think that kind of just builds as a story in my head. I'm like, okay, what's the story going to be this time?
When you sit down at a dry Euro game or something that's mechanical but has a theme on it, do you try really hard to pull a story out of that theme? Does your brain go there, or do you just like disconnect and be like, this is just a mechanical. I'm just farming with animals and resources.
Like you played Root, right?
I have played Root one time.
So did you see this as this fantastical animal versus animal.
The
battle
alliance versus the whatever.
I did not. I think I spent most of that game going, how can I mess with Daryl? And then I had to team up with him at the end.
That's funny. Good strategy.
That's such a great question, because when you said that, I got to thinking, like, if I am playing something with a good theme, like Arkham Horror or Final Girl, I am building that story in my mind. But if I'm playing Kalis or Puerto Rico, I feel it's more like I'm trying to fill in a spreadsheet in the
Hadrian's
most efficient way possible. Yeah. And I never even bother like, oh, this builder is going to gather his wheat from the market to help build the castle.
That's what, like, I remember, call back to our first episode, Heat. That was I think the eye opener for me of like, they really applied the theme of car racing really well to where I felt like there could have been I felt like there was a story to our gameplay. But when it comes to those other games, like Dwayne was mentioning, I think that tickles the part of the brain that just likes figuring things out. I see that in a lot of board gamers. My roommate makes fun of me because she thinks all of my friends are like software engineers, devs, and it's like some of my closest friends are, and we're all board gamers, but it's like we have a lot of overlap in our group with like different nerddoms.
Did you say you're building your castle out of wheat?
Well, I'm sure maybe there's some
might
wheat
be a
in
problem.
there.
Sorry, I couldn't let that go. I was just stuck on it.
I don't know, man. Maybe you have to mix in the wheat
It's
with
like
stone.
Maybe the quarry first.
Or how about those?
You chew it and you make it like a cud.
Ew, gross.
Wait, maybe I need a thatched
Alright.
roof or
I'm
something.
out.
I don't know. That's a good call out, though, James. Good point.
Castles of Mad King Ludwig.
We have a castle building competition. You hang out in the fields. I'll go to the quarry, and we'll see who wins.
Mine will be built first. Is it a speed competition?
Depends on if the big bad wolf is involved.
So strategy. Board gamers love figuring things out. And on your list, there are 2 deck builders, Clank and Star Wars deck builder. And I think this is like my like theory. I've actually brought you guys onto a science experiment here. I think a deck builder is a good gateway for video gamers that have not gone into board games. Here's my thinking. So our guest Brittany here really likes the narrative-driven stuff. There are other video gamers out there that really like just the quick run. Like, I want to beat the level. I just want to like see whatever, complete the objective.
I want to waste
hand.
$1 on this arcade machine here.
Get the high score. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Deck builders, they're all about the efficiency of the cards in your hand. You think about Dominion, it's all about just like collecting your cards and then as they show up, playing them in such a way that gives you the most points. And so like there's some deck builders that can like go really quickly. Clank is a little bit more complicated because you have the board and the traveling and you can add a story there, which can be always really fun. But it's I think deck builders can be like an efficiency thing. Like there's a new game that came out this year, Avant Card. Have you been able to play that?
I haven't played it, but somebody had it, I think, at an event recently.
Mm-hmm. It's Jess has a copy, I have a copy, so if you come to our events, you might see
cool.
it. It's real cute. It's a very simple theme of like you're just trying to make the most expensive art gallery, but your art gallery are just cards, and so you're just trying to lay cards, kind of like in an Uno sequence where it's like the same number or the same color. And then certain cards, your patrons have special abilities. And so it's just real quick, real clean, pure like efficiency driven game. JK has a look on his face. I'm just curious what you're thinking.
I'll go a step further with you because I kind of thought you were going this route and then you didn't. When video games, when you're playing something, especially like a Mass Effect or a story-driven game, when you buy that game and it comes out of the box and you put it in your console, your character starts at a very base level with the same equipment. Every single player that's playing the game is starting out the exact same way. How you choose to guide that character from that point forward determines what your deck looks like. So very similar to deck builders, you could be adding cards that make your deck really fast or really powerful or cull down to the best cards. You're customizing every step of the game in both the board game mechanic and the video game mechanic.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad you said that because there's another game that we haven't been able to talk to yet, and that would be Baldur's Gate 3.
Yes.
Would you like to tell us your experience with that?
Yeah. So I didn't get Baldur's Gate until like a year after it was out because I play on mostly Xbox Series X, and it came out for PC way before. I got it. I have played D&D. I love D&D, so that really vibed well with me. I also really like the Dragon Age games. Very similar, just not so turn-based, but still like in the fantasy D&D realm. It was a lot of fun. I really like it. I kind of, to JK's point, I spend too much time in character creator. Way too much time in character creator. Like, it's a problem.
Yeah, I kind of ran into that issue with the last video game that I played and put time into was probably a little over 10 years ago, and that was Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Yep.
Skyrim. And, I mean, talk about losing time in just menus and character class creation and assigning traits and reading books, and like I didn't even play the game. I put like 80 plus hours into it, and I mean maybe not half, but a lot of that time was not spent mechanically, quote unquote, playing the game.
You didn't complete any objectives, but you did a lot of stuff.
I did a lot of stuff.
You did so many things.
I think that's what's been my biggest struggle with like open world games, where it's like there's just too many things to explore, and it was like I am someone that like likes the objective, but objectives within a story. And so I think that's what I like about board games too, is like, okay, what is the goal? Okay, we're trying to get victory points. Cool. Or like, what is the goal? I'm trying to be the last person standing. Like, tell me what my goal is. What's the theme? I really like parks. I really like national parks. And so the park's the game. I'm like, I'm a little hiker.
I have space parks.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Like it's, there we go. Like I like parks. Brittany has her space theme parks. It's great.
James, my son, plays both Skyrim and Fallout 76 or Fallout 3. And I'll walk into his room and see him playing and say, hey, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I'm just sorting inventory. And I'll sit and watch him for 10 minutes. And that will literally be the only thing he's doing for 10 minutes. I'm like,
and that's on Bethesda.
Yes, I'm leaving. Thanks.
And before I get roasted, it's Elder Scrolls 5, not 3.
There you go.
Okay. There you go. You got
I didn't even notice it. I
3
heard
was Morrowind.
I heard you say Elder Scrolls
into their mic right now, or their speakers right now.
Someone's going to have a complaint against this episode. But yeah, I've noticed that specifically because Skyrim and Fallout have the same creator. They're both Bethesda games. Yeah, that is, I feel like a Bethesda mechanic.
Is there a board game that you have played it, realized you immediately hated it, or played it, decided you're never going to play it again? Any of those come to mind?
I'm going to feel real bad if it's one of my games that I taught her. We'll see.
It is not. Don't worry. You've only taught me like 2 games.
Okay, good.
And one of them was Moonrakers, which I loved.
Oh,
good.
Shout out to Ivy Studio.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I don't think I've come across one that's like, wow, that sucked. I never want to play that again. I think there maybe has been 1 or 2 that I'm like, yeah, if
just
it comes out and I have
lukewarm.
another option, I might go take the other option.
Do you know what it was about those games?
I don't remember for sure. This was probably early on, like when I first joined the group. But obviously it wasn't bad enough for me to remember.
Right.
So.
Yeah, which can be a good sign.
Yeah.
Like, do you have one that comes to mind? I'm struggling to think of a game that I just absolutely hated and didn't want to come back to. I've got one in mind.
Well, I mean, Grand Austria Hotel was probably
up
until
hurts every time.
until
That
our
just hurts,
recent
yeah.
experience. And Lords of Waterdeep was another, but I think that was more experience driven than game driven. But no, that's a good point. I was like, I don't even know if I have one.
Okay.
You made me think of one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed, like, the people I played with were great. I was taught really well. I did not
I love the
really
disclaimer.
like the Great Western Trail. I think it was specifically the New Zealand.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I think that one, I don't know if I wasn't feeling great that day. It was at Tennessee. It was at TGD. So I don't know if I was just like overstimulated. It was too loud. There was too much going on. But I got into that game and I was like, I shouldn't have done this because I am tired and I want to go home.
I will.
Yeah.
I will agree with you. I haven't played the New Zealand one, but the original Great Western Trail, it took me 3 times being taught that game before I even liked it, and now I own it. But it's not it just didn't really sing the first couple times I played it.
Yeah, and like I was taught, like the person that was teaching it, he was great, was playing with a great group of people, but just the game itself, I was like, this is too much for me. This is weird. I'm not really a big fan of this.
That's what.
Cows aren't your thing.
No,
How about animated cows?
Oh
Are
my
you-
word!
that's oddly specific.
Before this derails again, I'm interested to see, as you grow in your board gaming hobby, if that changes, if you find mechanics that you just really don't like. Worker placement's one that's, I think, tricky for me. It's hit or miss whether or not I like those kinds of games.
I have a game that will probably suit both of your likes. So you like deck builders.
Oh, yes, the recommendation portion of the episode.
Narrative games. Have you played, and you like Clank. Mm-hmm. Have you played Clank Legacy?
I have not played the Legacy. I've only played the original and I think Clank in Space.
The Legacy is the best of both worlds. It's a hilarious story. I mean, written by the Penny Arcade crew.
It is, it is a fun story.
So that's funny because I've actually never played a Legacy game before.
I was about to say, I think you would really like Legacy games.
Games were until recently, very recently.
Okay. Well, so anybody listening that doesn't know what a Legacy game is, think of it like a campaign game where you're going to play over multiple sessions. So let's say the game is set to play over 12 sessions, and that's how you get the whole story. Well, it's not just that you're playing through the 12 sessions and the game is exactly the way it was when you started, and it will be the same way when it ends. As you're playing this, you're unlocking secret little boxes and stickers, and you're tearing cards up, and you are changing the actual physical game as you play through this story over a number of sessions. And I tell you, it is a weird feeling to tear up game components for the first time you're asked to.
Yeah.
But literally, you'll open the game box when you first purchase it, and you'll have access to 10% of the components, and everything else is locked behind secret boxes that you open up, and it's really fun. They're always narrative driven for the most part. There's some kind of story being told. But with Clank Legacy specifically, that is a game based around the Penny Arcade comic strip, which even if you're not a fan of that IP or don't know it, they're just hilarious story writers and character creators. Such a fun story to go through. And Season 2, Clank Legacy Season 2 is about to deliver to backers. So if you've not played a Legacy game, which you said you haven't, make that your first. Find a group of people to play it through. It is fun. So fun.
Okay, I've got a question. And this is circling back to a hot topic from earlier in our podcasting days here. You like board games. You like video games. Do you like playing your board games in an electronic media?
Oh,
that's a good. So I actually, for the first time, I think it was Humble Bumble had a sale where you could get, I think it was Terraforming Mars, Wingspan, and one or two others.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I bought it. I played Terraforming Mars online through Steam for the first time. It was okay. I didn't mind it. I've also never played the original Terraforming Mars. I've only played the Ares Expedition. So it was cool to see Terraforming Mars, and it had Prelude and everything loaded in with it. I didn't hate it, but it was a very different vibe. It was slower.
Because that's I wonder.
I think she's almost on my team. She's very close.
JK's anti-digital board games.
Am I being converted? Is that what this is?
No.
We've invited you here today.
JK's trying to be validating.
I like board games. I do like some video games, but I find that I do not like an electronic version of my board games. It does not scratch the itch for me. I hate it.
Well, and I think it was me, Dwayne, and Brooke. We played, what was it? The Potions game.
Potion Explosion?
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
Potion
we played
Explosion.
that through BGA. And that was fun because we were on a call and able to talk and everything during it. So the social aspect was still there.
Yeah.
But I've also played that game in person. And I think I had more fun in person than I did
I need
online.
the clickety-clack of those marbles in person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's
very satisfying.
Come
The
to
tactile.
come to the Church of JK. We're going to sacrifice BGA at the church here. They're not our sponsor.
No.
They're going to hate us.
I'm glad you asked that. And thank you for coming to my science experiment today. I think I've concluded that every board gamer and video gamer are unique, and I think there can definitely be overlap between the two.
That Venn diagram is not necessarily a circle.
Right, exactly. It's people go to video games for things, people go to board games for things, but I think in the case of Brittany, no, I'm just kidding. I see the similarities in your history. And it's interesting because I feel like I see similarities in my own kind of experiences with games. So if you happen to be a video gamer that found our podcast, try a board game, see what you think. And vice versa.
If you happen to be a board gamer that wants to try a video game, do so. Just not a board game video game. All right, Brittany, thank you for joining us. I think you're going to come back later in the show when we do the game challenge, right?
She's invited.
Yay.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks, Brittany.
See you soon.
This episode's game of the show is Rococo. We had a chance to play the deluxe edition, which is super nice. It is published by Eagle Griffin Games, designed by Mathea Kramer, Stefan Malls, and Luis Malls. Art was done by Ian O'Toole. It was released in 2020 and plays 1 to 4 people, but is at its most gleeful with 3 players. JK, please walk us through Rococo.
Louis XV reigns in France, and it's the height of fashion to attend his lavish balls where important luminaries dress up in extravagant gowns and fancy frock coats. You are the operator of a tailoring business, and you are going to spend this game using your crew, which consists of masters, apprentices, and journeymen, to go through a series of action selections. You have 6 actions you can choose from, and each turn you're allowed to take 3 of those actions by spending a card, whether it's a master, a journeyman, or an apprentice, to do those actions. Some actions can only be done by the master. Those apprentices are good, but they're just not good enough to get things done. You will spend the game completing all of these actions, acquiring new members for your business, and creating dresses and frock coats. Once you do that, will you keep them and rent them out for people to use during the ball, or will you sell them outright? And while we're on the subject of that ball, it's an amazing house. There's so many areas where you can hang out and listen to musicians play and check out the statues and wait till you see the fireworks at the end of the night. At the end of the game, this is a Euro, and it's all about points, points, points. And the more you spread your points around, the better you're going to do. Just make sure on your turn, you've still got a frock to give. That's Rococo.
Well done, JK.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
Well done. Applause.
All right. I mentioned it already, but y'all, it is a beautiful game. It's so pretty.
Let's clear this out right away. So we did play the deluxe version, which was released by Eagle Griffin Games. There does exist another version of this game, which is a just scaled back normal game in a box kind of thing. I've never actually seen it, so I don't know how dramatically different it is, but we certainly did play a beautiful version of this game.
Yeah, it's been out of print for a long time. The original, that old one, but gameplay-wise, it is actually the same. The board layout is different because it's a smaller production.
Sure, yeah.
So everything's kind of crunched together, but the game's the same.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about it, but the board alone for this game is pretty massive for what it is. You can tell that, it didn't have to be that large, but it's got a very nice layout that I think fits the theme extremely well.
Yeah, picture a large house where a gala would happen, a ball would happen, and then if you're looking at it straight on and you took off that front wall and you saw all the floors exposed with the different people on each floor, that's this game board. It's kind of like you're looking at inside of a house like that, a big mansion.
It's really pretty. And like you have the fireworks above the mansion, the statues in each hall.
So when it comes down to this game, it's not that complicated. It's a very easy game with 6 simple actions you can choose from and 3 levels at which you can do them depending on which card you're using. I think one of the more compelling things is that each of the action selections, and among them are you can add a new employee to your spot, you can get materials to build a dress or a frock, or you can actually go through and build the frock or dress. One of the compelling things is that the sooner you do the action of getting the employee or getting the materials, if you're the first person to do so in a round, you pay more. You have the ability to get the one you want, but it's going to cost you a lot more. And money is a key thing with this game. If you wait until later in the round, it's a lot cheaper, but the thing you want might be gone.
Okay, so you say it's like a simple game. I have been thinking about this ever since we've played it. BGG has it at a 3.07 weight out of 5, which yes, that's kind of really close to the middle, but it tips towards the higher side. And I remember playing this the first time with you, and it just did not click. But I can't put my finger on what makes it so complex.
I'm actually a little shocked that it's over a 3.
Yeah, I think what it might be is, so the deluxe version came out in 2020. The original came out in 2013. And by today's standards, this is very much, and something that I like about it, a medium weight Euro game.
Yeah.
Not medium light, not medium heavy. I mean, this is as medium can get. But in 2013, this probably would have been considered a bit heavier. And so I think those earlier ratings may have averaged out to be a little bit above 3. Because I agree, it'd be high 2s, I think, compared to most Euro games nowadays.
Have you played the original version?
I have not.
Yeah. Dwayne?
I have not played the original.
Okay.
But when you said that, James, that was an interesting point. Like, are games that are released later, are they considered less weighty because we have more experience with that style of game, and therefore it just does not feel as meaty? So that's an interesting thing. The other thing is, and this is just the way that people score games on BGG, the original edition is at 3.08. The deluxe edition is at 3.07.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, maybe I might be wrong then. If the deluxe came out that much later and it's still in the 3s, yeah, I'm surprised. I mean, one of my takeaways when I play this game, and part of why I like it actually, is because there's a trend in modern Euros, I think, to make things combo-tastic. This leads to this, leads to this, leads to this. This doesn't really have that.
No.
This doesn't have secret hidden goals like a lot of Euros have. You're all aiming for something in secret. There's a lot of modern things that this one doesn't have because it is actually a 2013 game. That kind of, in my mind, keeps it a bit simple, right?
Yeah.
When you're taking your turn, I mean, you're considering how it affects your future turns, but I think there's less being prone for analysis paralysis on your turns because it's not one of those combo games where like, well, if I do this, I can also do this, I can also do this. That doesn't really exist here. You take your action and then you're done, and next player's turn.
I think the one way you can get the combo-tastic, and it's still not as tastic as some of your combos were in our Grand Austria game, but I had a card where I could depute a worker.
Deputing a worker is essentially firing the worker from your staff, but you either get an action or points for doing so.
Okay, that's a weird play. I'm going to fire you. Okay, here's $10.
They give you money.
Yeah.
You fire them before payday. You get your money back. But I had a worker. I guess he must have been middle management or something. But the worker would fire the other worker, but I got to do like the action. Like, and so we laughed because it was like at the end of the game. At the end of the game, I had 4 workers. And how many did you have, JK?
Oh gosh, 11, 12.
Yeah. I kept a tight ship so that I could just like get a worker, use that action to like benefit me. And so that way, like each time it's like I was cycling through my entire deck every 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And so I had some good actions that I kept wanting to just cycle through.
The game only plays over the course of 7 turns. And in each of those turns, you're going to get 3 of your workers available to you. You start the game with 5 workers, and then as you acquire more, you're going to add them to your deck, or in the case of Emily, where you're deputing them, you can thin your deck out. When you purchase a worker within a round, you get the worker that very round. So that does add a 4th action for you. But again, that economy of adding workers and taking the actions at the right time, I think a big element of this game, you talked about that you're not necessarily comboing things, but you're kind of comboing your whole turn. You're trying to figure out what order do I need to play these 3 in to maximize what I want to do.
Yeah, because a really neat decision is on your turn. So this is also, if that sounds familiar to other things we've talked about in this episode, it's a deck builder.
Yeah.
And you can thin out your deck through the depute action, and you're always thinking about, okay, I only have 3 cards on this turn, and especially on your first 2 turns, you know what the rest of your deck is. So, and you're going to draw 2 cards next, and then have to recycle one of them. But you start off with 2 masters. So I know that, okay, my first turn I drew one of my masters. That means my second turn I'm for sure going to have a master, which gives me the ability to make this type of dress or to hire another employee. So you're actually always planning 1 turn ahead because of you know what your deck is for the most part.
Right.
It gets a little bit harder in the late game when you've actually hired some employees and your deck goes from 5 to 10, 11, or 12. But you still generally have an idea of what your next turn will be like. which is not always something that you think about in some of these deck builders and Euro games.
The bear of which cards you get. So the action where you hire a new employee can only be done by a master.
Yeah.
And boy, when you start around and you turn over those 3 cards in your hand and you don't have a master, that's just crippling.
That's what I think about having like a thinner deck really helps, because like someone said, you start with 2 masters. I was getting at least one or both every turn. And some of the cards that would that's one of the available actions is to hire a worker. Some of those apprentices really seem to have these flashy, either endgame points or flashy actions and whatever. But it's I don't want them cluttering up my deck. And so I think there were a few times where it's I hired them and then deputed them immediately. So you still kind of get that action to benefit you somehow and get some silk and thread and whatever. But then just move on with your day.
The vast majority of the cards in the game, other than a couple masters that you start the game with, have an additional power on the card. So when you make an action selection, let's say you wanted to go and buy materials to make either a dress or a frock, the worker you use might be able to do that. And then in addition, they're going to give you a totally separate action, or it might be to do that action again. Some workers might give you end game points. There's a wide variety. So to Emily's point, culling those away, you get to use that power one last time. You didn't have any end game ones, did you?
No,
none of those.
I couldn't swing it at the end.
Yeah. Every now and then you might end up with a small little combo of a turn because of that, where you get away with doing 3 things. Because when you play a card out and you do the action associated with that, there are some actions that out on the board in the mansion, it's divided up into rooms. And inside each room, there's individual spaces per room. So if you take the action to go make a dress with one of your masters, and rather than selling the dress for the money, because money can be tight in this game, so sometimes you decide to make the dress and sell it. Instead of doing that, you can rent it and send it out into the ball. And so you'll choose one of the rooms in the mansion and put it in one of those spaces, and then you put your token on it, which at the end of the game will help you towards end game scoring. There's majorities, for each room, that kind of stuff. But also in that space that you choose, sometimes those spaces give you a bonus. You can get some extra resources, or sometimes an actual extra action of some sort to get some thread or some silk. So you might take you play your worker out and you take that action to make the dress, and you get you put your dress out there, you trigger the action, that little bonus thing on the board itself, which gets you some resources like thread or silk. And then you also get the bonus action from your worker. Your bonus action always triggers at the end of your turn. But that bonus action might also be to make a dress. And if you have the resources to do so, you could do that whole thing one more time. You can make the dress, rent it out, trigger a bonus action, and get some more stuff. So there's a little bit of combo, but it's not. Doesn't happen a lot.
I didn't even think about the rooms when I was summarizing this. So now we've got deck building, we've got action selection, and we have a bit of area control.
Area majority. I guess it is control.
It's control.
Because you're picking which spot, which does have an advantage when it comes to ties when you're figuring out that majority.
Yeah, but it all comes together in a way that, at least in my brain, just makes sense. It's not overwhelming. It seems to, and I'm going to connect this to another game here in a moment that seems to do the same thing for me.
I was just about to. If you weren't, I was going to. Go ahead, James.
Okay. Lacrimosa?
Oh, no. Sorry.
Okay. How about you go first?
I was going to connect it to Grand Austria. It's interesting that complaints I had about Grand Austria doing too much are exactly what I enjoy about this game. It's I still struggle with I thought I was doing so well early game. I was I have so many dresses on the board. I'm going to get that all halls bonus in no time. And then the turn before I was going to get the all halls, JK and James are oh, I'm about to get all halls. I'm what do you mean? You guys were doing all this other stuff in the first couple of rounds while I was making dresses. But anyway, go ahead with your...
not that there's multiple paths to victory, but there's different ways you can emphasize things, either making the frocks, making the dresses, or purchasing the sponsorship of musicians, getting the statues. There's different ways to kind of end up at the same end result.
And that's what I think I really lost out on the income, because I raced to start making dresses so that I could try to get that all hauls faster. Y'all's income just exponentially increased as the game went on, and I'm like, yes, that was a mistake. Yeah, I was going to try to work through it, but you can't.
There are two different things you could do to create a sponsorship in the house that will help drive your income up. Unfortunately, in a 4-player game, that is limited to only 3 players doing each of those options, and Emily missed out on both so of them. She was pretty handicapped when it came to money for most of the game.
And I did pretty well.
You did,
despite that.
Yeah. It's the canning all the people that did it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the start of each round, you get income, which is 5 coins, and then additional coins if you've sponsored those decorations. And Dwayne and JK got both of those.
Yeah,
all 3. Now they're more. Each time you do it, the first person that gets there is cheaper, and then gets more expensive each time.
Mm-hmm.
One game this really reminds me of is, and for me it makes sense. I'm going to explain why, because every time I've mentioned it, I always get some weird eyes. But Lacrimosa. And
it's the frocks.
It's the frocks.
Yeah.
Same time period. It just makes sense.
They have the same color scale.
With the card play, there are limited hands where your action selection for that turn takes those cards out of play until a refresh happens. And then you slowly add cards to that minimal hand over the course of the game. That's kind of similar. I think you probably add even fewer cards in Lacrimosa, but it's still a little bit of building your deck that way. Performing an opus versus selling an opus is renting a dress versus selling a dress.
Yeah.
The Requiem, placing out tokens on the sheet music chart, equals sponsoring decorations for endgame scoring, and it's also majority in each of those Requiem spots at the end of the game. And then the sheet music charts being endgame scoring, based on majorities. Sorry, I have it written out so I wouldn't forget. And then each room of the ball being endgame scoring based on majorities is kind of the same thing. So, like, I
hadn't made that connection, but yeah, they're real similar.
Yeah. Now, of course, Lacrimosa I would go medium heavy or heavy Euro.
Yeah.
I'd say medium heavy because I think heavier. I almost go up to Lacrimosa or Lacerdas and stuff, but it adds more stuff to it to complicate it compared to Rococo, like traveling around Europe and visiting places and doing the resource management's more nuanced, I think. But I would love a game day where we play Rococo first and then Lacrimosa right after that, and see if the way my brain is making these connections makes sense.
We'll listen to nothing but classical music that day. It'll be a great treat.
Yes.
Yeah, I could help with that playlist.
That's fair.
Well, you're a jazz specialist over here.
But I do. There are some classical pieces that are just straight up bangers that I remember from my college days.
Were there any negatives? Anybody have any ill will with this game?
I keep playing this game when I am... That wasn't the end of my sentence, Dwayne.
I know, but it was like the start was, I keep playing this game.
I keep playing it when I'm super tired. And that's what, like, I don't know if you guys were paying attention to my body language last time we were playing, but I was like, I want to be so done with this game. And then I started thinking about it like Tuesday, and then it was like by Tuesday afternoon, it was like the clouds had shifted, and I was like, oh, Rococo is actually a pretty good game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But I think I had some of my similar stuff of when it comes to Euros, I get kind of stressed out about the icons because I don't have a player aid to reference. So you have like a player board that kind of like tells you the steps of the round and what actions you're allowed to do. And I feel like it takes me until like the second or third round to remember what all of the icons really mean.
Even the player board has a nice showcasing of what you can do. There's not a lot of explanation of what you can do there.
None. And so, whereas like I feel like with Heat, the iconography really kind of displayed what you did, and with some exceptions,
I disagree.
With some exceptions, I'm thinking of like the slipstream step is really clear, but on Rococo, it's just like, here is an image that represents like that's like a mascot, like it's just like here's like a needle and some thread. but also for the dress making, it's similar.
I was surprised because of the restrictions of actions on some of the types of employees. I was actually surprised that I never made a misplay because I was very nervous about I would ruin the integrity of the game by doing the wrong action with the wrong employee. So I tried to be cognizant of it, and I don't think any of us had any problems with that.
No,
so
we almost did. We retconned it immediately.
Okay, I might have dozed off for that moment. Not that the game was boring, but as we said, it was a
long day.
Yeah, it was a long day.
Oh yeah, we did question. There was one thing about being able to hire 2 employees in the same round.
Yes. So we did have one asterisk.
Well, no, we had gotten our head that was a rule, but it actually wasn't.
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah.
JK, why are you limiting my power?
Yeah, I think we got all the way through
Emily,
without.
if you would have hired 2 workers in one round, you just would have fired on the next round. So
I think it's just the man trying to keep you down.
It is the man trying to keep me down. That is some of where the complexity, I think, comes. Like the icons, you really want to make sure you know what the definitions mean. And then I also had confusion on what the all halls bonus meant, because I had a statue somewhere because I was hoping to control it later, and I really wanted to secure that tiebreaker. And then I found out that the statues could count towards my all halls bonus, but not towards area control.
Yeah, they're the second tiebreaker in area control.
And it was one of those no matter how many times you told me it was a tiebreaker and not, because it's okay, one of the tiebreakers is if you have more people on the master spots,
the master locations in each hall. Yes.
So in my mind, I'm okay, well, I have a thing, a token on the statue. So why does that not count, even though that's also included the tiebreaker? So what my point being, there's some kind of just specifics that I feel can be easy to either gloss over.
Yeah. There was a great point for me late in the game. I think we're in round 7 here. So it's coming down to the wire.
It's the end game.
End game is going on. I've got my last actions all figured out. I know exactly what I'm going to do with my 3 cards. I have a really good idea of where I'm going to finish out. Step 1 and step 2 go flawlessly. And right before I'm about to take step 3, Dwayne does the worst possible thing on the board that he could do to disrupt what I was doing. And it broke my 3rd turn. There was literally nothing I could do with the card I had remaining.
I had a similar 7th round. I don't know if it's because it's the 4 of us and we've played 15 games together now. But these games that kind of get a little competitive, I'm actually really enjoying more than I thought.
I always like to watch someone's dream crushed by my hand. That is delightful.
This game was very close. Out of the 4 of us playing, 3 of us finished within 6 points of each other.
Yeah.
And then there was a 4th. We'll get to that in a second. Do we want to go ahead and reveal how our thoughts are on this game and score it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are we keeping it to play or trading it away?
This is a game out of my collection. It is, for me, definitely a keeper for 2 reasons. One, it's beautiful, and I'm a snob for pretty games. It's also, as I kind of started off my explanation, it's surprisingly light when you look at how much is in the game and you look at the complexity of how everything looks. It's not that hard of a game. I would be interested to see if I like it as much playing the standard version, or if it's the fact that it is so pretty is kind of skewing me a little bit heavier into the I like it side. But for me, it's a keep it to play.
All right.
For me, it is also in my collection. When I first played it, I knew immediately that, and I've only played the deluxe. I think that I would feel the same way with the original. But at the moment I've played it, I knew that this is a keeper. It clicked. It made sense. It wasn't. It didn't overwhelm me with AP or anything of that nature. And I think the more I play it, the more. I mean, this. I think this is a top 10 game for me. Maybe even top 5.
Wow.
It's a game that I enjoy every time. I've never had a bad play of it, and it gives me good feels every time. So. Definitely a keep it to play for me, and a high recommend if you don't normally play Euro games and you want to play one that has some good decision making, but
Yeah.
isn't necessarily overwhelming,
Yeah.
this is a great one to do that with. So
Crunchy light.
yeah.
And for quick clarification, AP stands for analysis paralysis.
Yes, thank you, Emily.
Or advanced placement if you're in high school.
But this isn't a podcast about high school. All right, I guess that means it's my turn. Despite my first 2 attempts at playing this game, I think a good night's rest and kind of like a binge watch weekend of Bridgerton made me really appreciate the theme.
Nice.
Because it's like that period era did not stand out to me the first time we played, but I grew to enjoy it. And so this was a slow burn for me, but it is now a firm keep it to play.
Wow.
All right. I do not own this game, but I'll go ahead and say this. I will keep it to play. If I owned this game, I would store it on my bedside table so it's the first thing I could look at in the morning. It is just the box. It's this oversized box. Even the box is very nice. I enjoy this game. I love it. The only reason I don't own it is James and JK both own it, and I feel like those are the people I would play it with if I did own it. So 100% keep it to play all the way.
That is a 4 out of 4. Let's frocking go.
Let's go.
I feel like that's been a while since we've had a 4 out of
It
4.
has been a little while.
Yeah.
Go team.
I'm proud of us.
Yeah. So we talked about the fact that 3 of us finished within 6 points of each other. Even in that instance, I played my personal best game ever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well done, JK.
And yet,
No.
James crushed me by 13 points.
Do it, James.
What? I won another game?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Good job, James.
Thanks,
I can't
guys.
remember how many fingers I held up in last week's photo. Was it 3 or 4? It's probably 4. I did not do well. Well, we can. That's why we have BG stats. We can look at that.
So it was James finished with 69.
Okay.
I had 56. Emily 52. Dwayne 50.
Yeah, that.
I beat
seems-
Dwayne by 2 points
Yeah.
That
with
seems
my
to check out.
4 workers.
All right. So James, take your victory lap. What are we playing?
All right. I have one that I think 2 of you have played. And
And it's never me.
It is you.
Oh, it is me.
Ooh.
And JK. I don't think
Oh.
Dwayne's played this,
No, tell
but
me
you're
more.
familiar with it.
Okay.
And I might be wrong if you've played it. But we're going to go visit the woodlands and the fields
I've been waiting for
and the
this.
plains and take some pictures of a nice little meadow.
Yes.
Yes.
Let's
That one's
go.
been on my list for a minute.
This was genuinely, when JK was having his winning streak, there was a point where I was like, okay, the next time I win a game, I'm picking Meadow because I know how much James likes it. But we'll save that conversation for later.
Dwayne,
Oh, yeah.
you ought to enjoy this game.
Oh.
Is there an otter in it?
Otter.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. In the meadows. Well, speaking of future games of the show, is there a game you'd like us to play? Have thoughts about Meadow or other games we discussed? Have a hear me out cake you'd like to make us think about? Well, then shoot us an email for your chance to have your comments read on a future episode. That email address is pod@gleefulmeeple.com.
So I think we've talked enough about games that it's time to play a game on air. No, not a board game, a game about board games. This week, Dwayne has brought a game for us to play. And welcome back, Brittany.
Yay.
Oh
Brittany's
my
back.
God, do I have a game for you all this week? All
You
right.
look way too happy,
I
Dwayne.
can't wait.
scared.
I've
I'm a
been
little bit
sitting
scared.
on this for a hot minute, and I am glad that my time finally came around. Today's game is called Evil Telepath, okay? So here's the way this game will work. I will give you a question. You will think of an answer. I will think of an answer.
So far, I'm on board.
Okay. To be fair, just so nobody can change their answer, you have to write it down. If you and I think of the same game, I will blow your head up with my telepathy powers.
Oh, no, Dwayne.
okay.
Oh.
Dwayne, there's a problem. We
What's
are the
that?
same person 20 years apart.
I didn't think of that. Emily's going to die. All right.
Yeah, but Dwayne and I are the same person, like
By age.
far less than 20 years apart. Yeah.
So we will play.
So I have the upper hand, you're saying. Okay.
We will play a number of rounds. Each round has 5 questions in it. So we will play until it's last person standing because everybody else has had their heads exploded. Or if everybody makes it to the 5th round, you will gain a point. Okay?
Wait, do we want to match you?
You do not
You
want to match
don't.
me because I will explode your head.
Don't want to match
Yeah.
you. Okay.
All right,
Okay.
evil telepath, not happy
Ooh.
telepath. All right, I'm going to give this first one is just an example, so we're all on board, okay?
Okay.
And I will. Hey, let's use something we talked about today, so everyone has a fair chance. Name a video game that has a Wendigo in it.
I only know one video game.
Oh, also, if you don't answer the question correctly, I'll
lie.
explode your head
Yeah.
just because I don't have time for this.
Just for
Well, I was
fun.
gonna write something. Now I'm not. You stopped me in my tracks, Dwayne.
Hold on. I'm doing a quick Google search. Hold on.
All right.
Please
All
wait.
right. Well, that's not really part of the game.
I'm
Google
just
searches are
kidding.
Yeah,
not
leave your,
not
leave your
allowed.
Google searches
Kidding.
out of this, Emily.
I have used my powers to
Should I say
disable the Wi-Fi.
unspecified search engine searching?
Alta Vista. Ask Jeeves.
All right. Everyone, please reveal your answer to me and go ahead and say them out loud.
Until Dawn.
We have Until Dawn.
something hill.
Okay, you're going to explode, I'm pretty sure.
Until
You
dawn.
said Until Dawn.
I went with Marvel Ultimate Alliance,
Oh.
where Alpha Flight takes on the Wendigo.
You were,
All right.
JK, you were the closest to getting your head exploded
Oh.
because I said X-Men the arcade game.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right. So that one was a freebie. I will go ahead and cast a spell of resurrection so everyone is back for the real game. And we will start with this. Name a game published by Steve Jackson.
What if you don't know?
What if we
Steve
don't know
Jackson?
publishers?
I can be friendly, I guess, and give you all a few seconds to Google something.
Is this the British game designer or the American
The
game
American game designer. Wow. Wow. I think I'm going to allow this for the first few rounds and then I'm going to be done with it.
It's not my fault you picked super obscure.
Look, I've only been in the group for less than a year. Gotta give me a little bit of grace here.
The fact that you have not encountered a game, Steve Jackson game as a member of our group might be a...
Is that a sign of growth on our part?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
plus.
Okay.
According to some people.
Okay. I understand why this is in here now.
Yeah, I don't recognize any of these games.
Yeah, I think I know where Dwayne is going to go with this, so I'm not going to go there. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, I may get my head exploded on this one.
I'm just trying to play like I play darts.
All right. Is everyone ready?
Yeah.
I don't like my answer anymore.
Please reveal
my
and
answer.
please reveal and say your answer around the table.
Raid on Iran?
Raid on Iran is a weird choice, but okay.
Gargoyle.
Gargoyle, I like it. Yes.
Hack and slash?
Hack and slash.
Ogre.
And ogre. I said Munchkin, so everyone
Thank
has
God.
survived
Ah.
round one. Good job, everyone.
You know what scared the heck out of me? Ogre is right there, right in
Yeah.
Dwayne's field of vision.
I was looking for it. And I was like, that's got to be the one.
Okay, round two. You cannot look this up because if you can't answer this, I will explode your head. Name a role-playing game.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Oh, what's the name of it? I only remember the subtitle.
You remembered the and dragons part?
The colon.
Hmm.
No, I was going to go with one that I saw at Gen Con this year. It actually looked really cool.
All right. If everybody
But I can't
is ready,
remember
go
the
ahead
name.
and reveal and say your answers.
Pathfinder?
The One Ring.
Okay.
Star Wars, the role-playing game.
Okay.
Vampire the Masquerade.
Very nice. I have good news for three of you.
Oh.
But sadly, I said Pathfinder as well. Emily, Emily, I will kill you with my telepathy
I should have
powers.
just said D&D.
All right. I will, because this is kind of a niche thing, and I'm not sure how closely Brittany follows it, I'll allow a quick Google search if you need some help on this one. Name a Spiel des Jahres game winner. A Spiel des Jahres. Main award, Spiel des Jahres, SPIEL.
Yes.
DES, JAHRES.
Yes.
Spiel des Jahres.
That's 3 words. It's German. Yeah. Dwayne, I'm so upset.
I'm very sorry. But you called it early on. You knew.
You
knew the risks were high.
I wasn't going to win this.
What you need to think about is what would the evil telepath not think of? All right. I think I see some people locking in. Emily, you can play for funsies
I am
posthumously.
going to play for funsies. I'm going to play like unspecified Jackbox game.
Nice. Nice. All right, James, start us off.
Wandering Towers.
Wandering Towers.
Just
All right.
one?
Just one. Very nice.
Zularetto.
Zularetto, very nice. And our dead player said Rumicube, which is great. Everyone survived because I said Sky Team.
Oh,
What was the
yeah.
newest
I
one?
was about
saw
to
that one. And I was like, I know that one. Nope, Joanne's going to pick that one.
I was about to say Sky Team.
I thought you were going to go Ticket to Ride.
Now.
Should I have a goal of now trying to match you now that I'm dead?
Maybe that could be a game you're playing on your own.
Dead team wins.
All right, this is I believe this is the fourth question in a 5-question round. 3 players remaining, so we're going to go on. No cheatsies this time, no Google search. Name a board game published before 1960.
Oh, no.
Name a board game published before 1960.
I will be on standby for fact checking.
Before what year?
Before 1960. Now, come on,
1960?
Emily. You know at least one game published. I know you don't want to say that one because you're like, I know Dwayne said that one, but give it a try. You never know.
The first game I was thinking of, I think, was 1967, so I feel like I'm going to be wrong.
My knowledge only goes back to about 1980.
All righty. Let's start with our living player, James. What you got?
Sorry.
Sorry.
Are we going to get kicked out if we
Risk.
fail the year?
Yes.
Okay. I also said sorry.
Oh.
Okay.
I'm a little worried, though.
So this is interesting because unfortunately Brittany's head did explode. I said Risk as well. And I think Sorry. We talked about this before.
We talked about
Sorry, it was
is prior.
1929, so
Thank
you're
you.
good.
Thank you, Emily.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I
So
almost put Mousetrap. Was Mousetrap a 60s game? I think it was.
Oh,
We talked about.
we did talk about this in a different game
I
challenge.
remember it was early because of the molded plastic. I think it came out either late 50s, early 60s.
I think it was late 60s.
yeah, that sounds right. If only I'd
68.
kept my notes from the last time I did
was
a
like
game of the show,
68.
I'd
From
know
a
that.
different Dwayne game challenge.
All right, so we have 2 living players. James and JK could both earn a point if they survive. Name a solo-only board game.
That's just mean.
All right. James, what you got?
Legacy of You.
Legacy of You. Very
It's
good. Legacy of You. I said Hostage Negotiator.
Oh.
All right. We had some final girls from the dead crew. So great
From the
news.
girls.
James and JK both have 1 point heading into our next phase of the game. And
I'm keeping the rounds for you as well,
thank you,
Dwayne.
Thank you. All right. Let me see if I can. Oh, here. This is something that I think everybody can play. Name a deck builder.
We named so many in our last episode.
builder.
But one that you didn't write down. It's still the game, right?
Same rules.
Same
It's
rules.
still Danger Zone. Did I spell that right? I don't think I did. There we go. Not that it matters. Are you going to explode heads for misspellings?
No. Oh, no, because I'm a psychic, not a speller, so I wouldn't probably even notice if you got it wrong.
Nice.
All right.
Hang on.
JK's rethinking.
Yeah.
He might have tuned in.
Yeah.
I might have given a hint somewhere. I don't know.
Were you listening?
All right.
Okay.
JK has an answer locked in. Let's go to Emily. Emily.
Wait, do I come back or am I still dead? In round
Yeah,
6?
you come back. Cast resurrection spell. Sorry.
Okay,
I
there
forgot
we
to
go.
do that. I
Let's
forgot to tell you I did
go.
that. You should have realized by the fact you were alive again, but that's fine.
Rococo.
Emily said Rococo.
Rococo.
Hey.
Rococo.
Star Wars deck
Oh my
builder.
God, I'm
Star
really
Wars
scared
deck
now
builder.
because I also said
Rococo.
Rococo.
Good news, everyone. I went with one of my favorites, Marvel Legendary.
Yeah,
I
I was
figured you
staying
I almost
away
went
from that
DC
one.
and I was like,
Everyone-
no, I'm not doing it.
See, James is playing the game. He's like, what will Dwayne say?
Can you reach that?
All right.
Hold on, pause.
Thanks.
All right, everyone ready?
Ready.
Name a terraforming Mars expansion.
No.
Wayne.
Yes.
I'm scared.
I hate you so much.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what the evil side. The
I
evil
only know
psychic likes
one.
to hear.
I feel like I'm triple reverse psychologizing myself.
Yes. Unfortunately, I quadruple reverse psychologist you.
Psychologist.
So
I
you
like
heard
how
me.
we both had 2 different conjugations.
Which one of you has the poison glass in front of you?
Which pill are you going to take? The red pill or the blue pill?
Who
Is everyone
knows?
locked in?
Yes.
James needs a moment.
I'm good.
Oh, okay, good. Emily, let's start. We've got
Colonies.
colonies. We have
Prelude.
We have prelude. We have JK named a board. I'm gonna let him live on that one because I didn't say that. JK really thought outside the box on that
I
one.
almost put Venus.
Everyone lived because I said Venus next.
Yes.
Oh,
Nice.
Let's go.
Your triple reverse psychology worked.
Yeah, I thought Prelude was going to be the one.
worked.
All right,
Yeah.
let me pause for just a second to update my list so I don't read something that I've already done. This is hard because I don't want to reveal too much.
waiting.
Kind of nice being the newest person at the table because I feel like my stakes are very low.
Yeah.
I know. I have played so many game challenges where I don't get a single point. I'm like, let's go.
Hey, for the record,
I still don't have a point right now.
Your streak
Me
lives.
either.
Your streak lives.
Ooh, welcome back, everyone. All right, here we go. I've got something that is on topic for today's show. Everyone ready? All right. Name a board game based on a video game.
There we go.
Name a board game based on a video game.
Oh, and suddenly I'm blinking. This isn't
I
good.
kn- yeah. There's a game that I know that
I really want to help
here.
James, but I shouldn't.
Come on, James. You don't want to be dead now.
I know I can picture the game. I'm just blanking on the name.
I'm going to rules lawyer the hell out of my answer here.
All right.
We'll see.
It's I'm doing a spell check.
Oh my gosh.
You don't have to. You
Terrible.
don't. I trust you. You don't have to
Yeah,
spell
it's-
check. Just give me something
there we go.
close enough.
Got it.
Mario is MARI and then O.
I actually shouldn't have said spell check. I was doing a subtitle check.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you.
Because it's when you hear it, I know how to spell these
All right.
words.
Just for fun, let's start with JK this time.
There we go.
I said Boss Monster.
Boss Monster.
It is a board game based on video games.
Frostpunk.
Frostpunk.
Dead Cells.
Dead Cells.
Last of Us Escape the Dark.
Oh, hey, very
Nice.
good. An unpublished game. I'm going to give Emily that just because we've both seen some prototypes on that. And, everyone lived because I said Dead by Daylight.
Nice.
I even tried to poke you all that direction by saying you'll be dead if you don't.
No.
James did not fall for my clever ruse.
Nice.
Maybe next time.
It's going to try to help you because there's a
All right.
Skyrim board game.
Oh, you're right. No, I was going. There's some new roguelike games that just came out, and Dead Cells is coming out.
All right, funny people. Let's see how you do this round. Name one of the Clue detectives.
Oh. You got a 1 in 6.
Are you allowing old characters and new characters?
No, the
No.
traditional Clue
The
characters.
originals, the OGs.
They must have appeared in the film to count.
I haven't seen the movie.
I think I was a small child last time I saw the movie.
Yeah, Brittany, what version of Clue were you raised on?
Just
Listeners
the
can-
base game.
Can you guess who wrote their intro down quickest?
We're at that point where a lot of the cast members of Clue are unfortunately passing away, and so as each one passes, I like to rewatch the film,
That's not weird at all, Joe.
like a little memorial.
Okay, but
Memorial.
I get it because Maggie Smith just passed, and I really want to watch Harry Potter.
absolutely.
She's not in Clue.
I just got
No,
deja
I know
vu.
that
But
Harry Potter.
She is in a highly underrated movie from the 70s that I would recommend called Murder by Death.
Yeah, I just watched
Oh,
that.
it's great.
Brittany, let's start with you this time. Who did you say?
I picked Colonel Mustard.
Oh, the delicious Colonel Mustard.
I don't like the way you said that.
I'm
James.
scared.
I have a question mark.
Nothing.
James does not have a clue.
Emily said
nice.
Colonel Mustard.
Mustard.
And I said Mrs. White.
JK, you have won the round because I also said Colonel Mustard.
Yes.
What's the other one? Professor Peacock, I think.
Plum.
Professor
Plum.
Plum.
And then
Mrs. Peacock.
Mrs. Peacock.
Miss Scarlet.
Yeah.
See, now that you're saying them out loud, I'm
Mr.
like, oh
Green.
yeah, those are all
all,
obvious.
all the women were Mrs. or Miss.
And
Yeah.
whose mansion were they invited to?
I don't know.
Ooh.
William?
Ooh.
Maybe. I
Is
don't
it a
know.
W?
Do we
The
ever
game
get his first
inside the
name?
game.
It could be William.
I don't know that they ever said his first name.
Okay.
Mr. Body. Boddy.
Because nobody.
All right. So this is going to take us to our third round, and if someone can live besides JK, it's a chance that we have a tie. So let's go with name a game that shares a name with a French city. Name a game that shares its name.
Brittany
with
should
a
be able to look
French
this up.
City.
Yeah, I don't know any
go
French
ahead, look
names.
it up.
Oh
I know
my
Paris.
gosh,
I think there's a
Dwayne.
Brittany, France.
Named after the
Yeah.
city?
I mean, you could simply pick the one that we did for Game of the Show.
Don't do this
No,
to
you
me.
don't want to not you that one.
I was not here for that.
I think you're tricking us right now, Dwayne. I don't like your reverse psychology over here. You're,
What's
you're
in my
evil.
head?
Evil
in
reverse
my
psychology.
head?
Dwayne, we don't have the copyright to that.
No.
I need you to stop.
Even if I sing it poorly, does that count? They're like, that's not even the same song.
I'm just
I
joshing.
think we're safe as long as we don't make any money off of it.
No problem there, I assure you.
We're good. We're covered. Thanks to our sponsors today.
All right.
All right, I'm going to try this a different way this time. Please reveal your answer if you said Carcassonne.
Ooh.
Oh. Unfortunately, that's not what I said. All right.
Oh,
Emily, go
Dwayne,
ahead.
don't do that.
Ticket to Ride Paris.
Oh, wow.
Okay, there
well
we go.
done.
I feel
well
safe.
done.
Castles of Burgundy.
does that
Burgundy.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 Dinner in Paris?
Paris. If Paris
Nice.
is a good.
Heroes of Normandy.
Heroes of Normandy. Well done, because I said Caylus. So
Oh.
everyone has
Okay.
survived.
I've never been so happy
can
of
I
my
tell you
lack of
something?
geology.
I just learned today that Caylus
Geography
is a
knowledge.
city in France.
Oh, wow. Okay.
TIL.
Well, good.
Yeah.
If I'm not exploding your head, I want you to be learning something. If I explode your
You're
head,
so
I want you to take
thoughtful,
all the
Dwayne.
knowledge from you. Did somebody keep track? How many are we
No.
into this next round?
That was the
That was
first one
first.
of round
Oh, but
three.
the first one. Wow. Okay. Also, something we talked about today. Name a legacy game. Name a legacy game.
Dwayne.
Oh.
Oh, what's the psychic thinking? How do I not get head exploded?
I
Yeah.
I know
literally
what
only
Dwayne
know
wrote
3.
down. Do we get bonus points if we know what you wrote down?
I would like to hear your answer before you.
I'm so
I say it.
scared. My knowledge of legacy games mainly comes from Dwayne. I have like 6, and I'm like,
I'm going to change mine, and I regret changing mine, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
Gosh,
I'll give you
Okay.
a second.
here we go. I am locking in.
Emily is locked in.
There we go.
I've never been so glad to know so little.
Okay. I'm good.
All right, let's start with JK. JK, what did you say for a legacy game?
I said Ticket to Ride, Legends of the West.
All right.
Betrayal at the House on the Hill legacy.
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
My city.
My City. Good choice.
Pandemic Legacy Season 0.
Pandemic. Now, just to be fair, just so you know, if I had said any pandemic game, I would explode your head.
No, that doesn't count. They're
But-
different legacy games.
But I did not say pandemic.
Okay, good.
Did you say
Fortunately,
Sagrada or Role
Brittany,
Player.
I did say Betrayal at House on the Hill
Damn.
Legacy. Brittany vibing with me, which is not what you want to do in this game.
I really thought you were coming out of the gate again with Seafall.
I thought you were going to say Sagrada or Role Player Adventures.
Yeah, I had Sagrada
I got really
Arsenals.
scared.
Okay.
Round or
Question 3.
Yes, thank you.
Name an elder god from any of the Arkham Files games. Just any elder god that you might have ever heard of.
I don't know how to pronounce it or spell
That's
it.
okay. That's okay. Remember, if you pronounce an elder god's name correctly, they will rip out your tongue. So you don't want that anyway. Emily, you cannot look this one up because I know you know the names of elder gods. Quit trying to get obscure ones.
I actually genuinely really wanted to see how close I was, and I was only missing one letter.
I was missing 3 letters, and the rest of them are not in the right order. 'Cause
That's what I was afraid of. I'm only missing one letter and potentially one space.
James, are you locked in?
I am.
Okay, I don't think I've let you go first. Go ahead and tell me what you got
Explode
there.
my head.
Pronounce the words.
We have
Cthulhu.
Cthulhu, Emily, Yogg-Sloth.
Yogg-Sloth.
I went with Shub Nguruth.
Very nice. The Dark Goat of the Woods. All right. I said Cthulhu.
Yeah.
Bye, James.
I don't know the other one.
My first Cthulhu Death May Die game was with Yogg-Sloth, or however you pronounce it.
Name a game with a number in the title.
Ooh.
Name a game with a
this is
number
fun.
in the title.
Are we allowed to repeat
Dwayne.
answers? I mean, I'm dead, so it doesn't matter, but.
Oh.
Oh, here we go. I'm ready.
Let's start with Emily again. What you got, Emily?
Memoir 44.
Memoir 44 is a great one.
Three Ring Circus.
Three Ring Circus, very nice.
Oh, I still
Take
need to
five?
play that.
Take 5.
Oh,
The
that's fun.
Crew, The Quest for Planet 9.
Oh, very nice. I almost said take 5, but in the end, I went with just 1.
Ooh.
I'm glad I didn't repeat my answer then.
All right. Now, I think officially, James and Brittany are both dead, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Emily, JK.
The Death Squad over here.
Here we
I think
go.
this is number 5, so all you have to do is get
Survive
through
one more
this,
question.
and you should be okay. Name an Azul spinoff.
There's 5. 4.
What would Dwayne pick? Oh, what is that? You would.
Is that?
See, I couldn't think of the name of that one.
Do you think he would explode my head if I said that?
Is that the name of it?
That's what I was thinking.
I
of
don't
too.
know.
I don't think that's the name of it.
Yeah, I can think of. That's what I'm thinking of.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to do something else then.
I thought this one would be easy. I was wrong.
Well, it's
Okay.
when I know my stats, like my probability, that really messes with my head.
I see.
Okay, I'm locked
All right,
in.
let's go ahead and let James and Brittany reveal first.
Crystal Mosaic.
Stained Glass of Sintra.
Stained glass of Sintra. Good. All right, Emily and JK, let's see those answers. Queen's Garden and
Summer Pavilion.
We have
JK,
all visuals from
your
Wow.
head has been exploded.
Oh, I almost.
Emily has gained a point,
Yes.
but JK will take the win because he had 2 points total.
Yeah.
You know, I
that-
am just proud to have a point.
Is evil telepath or evil psychic? I can't remember what title.
Telepath
I
is
decided
the
is that the one I
first
went
one you
with? All right.
said,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just kind of a Professor X. I've got a little bit of all the
Are you
all
proud
those
of yourself,
powers.
Dwayne?
I am
Killed all your friends.
So proud of myself.
Dwayne, that was really fun, and I think it fits the horror theme of video games that Brittany likes so well.
Hey,
Yes.
very nice.
Happy
Thanks for
spooky
playing,
season.
everybody.
Yeah.
Hey.
Happy October, everyone.
Is that it, guys?
Are we done
I
again?
think we did it.
Oh my gosh, we did it.
This was a lot of fun, guys. I think we should start out by thanking our sponsor, Altoid Sours. Are you a fan of Altoids and love that blast of minty cool freshness?
I
Hey, how about a
am.
sour version? That'll
Can't
be
wait.
Awesome. It'll be huge. I know these are going to take the world by storm. They're going to be fantastic.
This might
miss
be the
these.
first time our sponsor has revealed to me that a product does not exist anymore.
See?
I think I thought those were still around.
Nope. Been gone for a
No,
while.
but the crafting articles on what to do with Altoid boxes are very much still around.
Oh wow, I did not know. Of course, that's a sub hobby. Why not?
There's actually even a series of board games called the Mint Boxes, based
Yes.
around Altoid boxes.
See, and even I'm learning something today. The more you know.
There you go.
Play the little rainbow thing across your screen. Thanks for coming out to listen to us today, guys. Come see us at a Gleeful Meeple board gaming event. We've got a handful coming up in October, including our first ever event at IV Studios.
Whoop, whoop.
Woo! Also, you can find us at emailpod@gleefulmeeple.com and on Instagram at Gleeful Meeple Pod. That is so awkward to say. I'm going to finally figure this out probably around episode 20.
If you would stop saying
I believe in you.
at,
Yeah.
I think it would be a lot easier.
Yeah, at. It's a great word. At.
All right.
I'm going to use it more often.
At.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care, everyone.
Bye,
Bye.
Gleeples.